Hey folks, how you doing? Let's go over my trades for today. I had a few trades and let's do it right now. I'm up on the day from the morning and I had a trade near the end here that put me down a little bit. And I'm actually swinging something until tomorrow. So yeah, we'll talk about that as the video goes on. So I had two trades that I entered today that I ended up getting rid of relatively quickly for break evens, or just like kind of tiny scalps, and then I got rid of the rest for break even. The first one was on ZM. I entered a call at 9:55 and I wasn't really confident on what it was doing. Essentially, I basically was looking at this 5-minute chart here, and you see high, inside bar, and then a bull break, and then you can see we did get some bull action, but I just wasn't really confident based on how slowly it was moving. I guess I'm not used to the price action of ZM. It's a little bit weird, so I don't think I'll be trading that one much more, although sometimes it makes sense. I think I'll just keep an eye on this one. But if you watch the chart for ZM, look at how it respected the EMAs on the 5-minute time frame. It punctured them here, and it always resulted in a bounce every time, until the very end of the day when we finally lost that 5-minute higher low and we got a huge dump. But a lot of things dumped at the end, so that's just how it is. Next trade was on NVDA at 10:20. So let's take a look at NVDA. So we had the initial bull move in the morning, and then we had this consolidation range up here. Okay, now this range started to catch my attention. Let's see where. So you can see first pullback, weakness, second pullback, kind of weakness chopping around here, and then a huge pullback up, and then we get this sort of candle forming on the 5-minute time frame. This 210.66 was the high. All right, so at this point I started to take a look at what the put options were looking like. Okay, and I wasn't planning on shorting at any moment. My goal for this trade was to get into the puts when they were not overpriced. Okay, so I was going to try and scale into a bearish position while the market was on an uptick, which means the puts would be on a downtick. Okay, so this is something I'm discovering recently here. And it ended up working as I got filled the order at 10:20. I only bought one contract at 10:20 on NVIDIA. I filled it at 56 when the market was on a downtick approximately. So if you look at 10:20, it was right here. The puts were on a downtick, but I was entering right on that candle. As you can see, we got a little bit of a pop. I was actually considering I was going to scale another contract in, but I didn't get the fill. I think I was trying to scale it in the 50s. My fill was at 56. And I ended up selling it at 1040 after we got a bear break down to 200, so 1040, and I sold it for 86. So that's a decent profit right there, as you can see. And the trick behind that trade is I was patient with it, and I didn't pay too much for the contract. I allowed the market maker to give it to me. Just like I had a bid in the market, and eventually the market ticked up, and then I caught the contract. So that was my strategy with that. Next one was on Facebook, 11:18. Let's take a look here. 11:18. So I caught some of this bull run. Let me get rid of those lines. So big bull in the morning, then huge pullback after that. So let's see. Yep. Big pullback after the huge bull, right to the 12 exponential. Then we got a little bit of a bounce inside bars. And then we got a bull move, a bull close off of the moving average here. So that was the first one. So that would be a high 1 off the moving average. Then we had this sort of bull bear reversal candle, followed by this inside bar, and then a test to move lower, and then a higher close on that candle. So this candle right here at 11:10 kind of signaled me to start looking to be long in this trade. Okay, and I was actually trying to scale in to the call option when it was on a downtick, similarly to NVIDIA, but I didn't quite get the fill on that one. So I took it generally, and I just went in with a slightly smaller size for that matter. Okay, so I got in at 64 for that contract, and I sold it at 11:22. So you can see we got a big bull trend bar there. So I sold it during this next candle here when we were pushing 158. And I sold it at the ask, and I got filled at $1. So that means that somebody bought the contract at the ask, and I gave it to them. So yeah. And after that, well, yeah, we had a bit more upside, but then it was consolidation. And you can see, watch this consolidation on Facebook. You can see 3 or 4 or 5 bars to the downside, meeting up with a moving average. So it kind of looks like a decent bull flag setup. But remember, when something looks too textbook, it often fails. And then you can see it failed right there. generally due to SPY being weak as well at the same time. So yeah. All right. At 12:04, I pulled up an Apple trade and I was trying to do the same thing, kind of trying to scale in at the moving average right around here. Okay. So after this dump, we dumped right down to the moving average. I was watching this candle forming on the 5-minute chart, and I decided to scale into some calls, and my intention was to scalp them and scale in as they were on a downtick, okay? And I got filled at 51 per contract. I managed to sell one at 54, and then after that, the market was kind of weak. I wasn't exactly confident in it, and when we were rolling over, I just got rid of the last one for 51. It was a little hard to sell that one, actually. For some reason, there was a lack of demand. So the number one thing to be cautious of when you're trading options is they have to have good liquidity, because if you get stuck and the stock suddenly dumps or pops against you and there's nobody to buy your position off you, you're screwed, okay? So you got to be real quick with that. So sometimes you might have to use a market order to get out. And yeah, so I managed to get out pretty quickly and I got out of my break even, so I got lucky with that one, okay? The last trade of the day was at 3:04 p.m. on Facebook. Now, I had a clue that there was a potential chance after this kind of tightening range here, there was a potential chance that we were going to see a potential bull move into the close, okay? And we didn't get that, but I was still betting on it anyhow. So I was scaling into some Facebook calls, and I bought them starting at 3:04 and I got filled at 47, okay? Now these calls were in high demand relatively after that, and I didn't manage to take any profits because I was expecting the market to move way higher. So that is potentially a bad thing that I had in my head. I was kind of almost programming myself to think like the market's probably going to move higher, and so I should probably hold on to these contracts, okay? But obviously I got burned by holding on to them too long. So that's just how the game goes, okay? So 3:04, I got into a Facebook call. Let's see what happened here. 3:04. Yeah, so just down on this bear break here, and I was watching the SPY at the same time, and basically I was scaling in. I wanted to get into these calls while some people were getting stopped out of them. I wanted to take them off their hands down near these lows here. And you can see after that we got a big bull reversal candlestick on the 5-minute chart, and we got a nice bounce out of that actually. And I didn't decide to sell on any of this bounce until the very end. Well, that's just how the game is played. You see, we came up for a 5-minute lower high, and then we dumped into the close. Now, it made sense, actually. Now, looking at it in hindsight, it made sense that the most likely scenario after we confirmed some sort of 5-minute lower high was just a dump into the close. And that's just how it is, you know? I mean, but at the same time, anything else could have happened. I mean, we could have easily seen a short squeeze into the close too, but we didn't really see any sustained buying at this 158 level. You can see here on the 2-minute chart, see we got a nice pop up to 159.60, huge rejection, and then chop, 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 and then after the selling just took over. But we could have easily, after that huge rejection, just came up with these 3 bars and easily gone up higher, but I guess it wasn't what the market wanted to do. So what happened was I managed to sell one at 48 at 332, which would have been around here, kind of early actually, because they were trading around 60 cents here. So that was a little bit of a mistake because I sold it before the demand was high, okay? You always want to be selling your positions when the demand for your position is high, so that way you can take a good profit, right? And after that, at 350, since I only had 1 contract left, which is half the position size I usually take, I actually bought another after the huge dump. So I was holding, right? I wasn't really panicking at this point because these are small contracts I'm trading. But still, this dump, I was skeptical of the dump basically. So at 350, I added another one at $20. I paid $20 for this contract, and I actually sold one at 21 after that, okay? I'm actually holding a contract overnight, guys. So I'm holding a 167.50 Facebook call expiring tomorrow. So if Facebook has a gap up open tomorrow, which is likely, especially in these crazy market conditions, then I'll be in the money on that contract. So my average price is $34 for the contract. And I mean, if we gap up, that will be the most awesome scenario, because that could easily mean that this contract goes 500, 600% in a day. Obviously, the worst case scenario is we gap down and I lose all my money, which is $34. So it's not a big deal. Overall, guys, I'm green on the day. Those are my trades. So we had the Zoom trade, which was a break even, the NVDA put trade, which was a successful trade, the Facebook call trade, successful. Apple calls was a scalp, and then I get out at break even. And then the Facebook calls at the end, I scalped them in, and then I didn't take profit, and then the market dumped. So that's just how it goes, all right? I'm holding one contract overnight. All right, guys, so I wish you a great evening. All the best. Take care. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Take care. Bye.